What's up, guys? Today we're going to answer the question that I am asked most in stream nowadays. What do I recommend? Grayzone Warfare, Tarkov, or Arena Breakout? And we're going to go into a very deep dive into 3 of these games. And I'm going to tell you what the pros and cons of each of them are and what I think you should play in 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the video. Peace. Before we get into the video about the games and everything, I want to make a very clear point. This is going to be my opinion, and I think if you are enjoying a game, nobody should ever tell you as a gamer what you should and should not play. Now, I know that there's a lot of controversy around these 3 games, more so with Arena Breakout and Tarkov. However, if you're having fun with the game, please just play it. I feel like the gaming industry has gotten a little worse because people are trying to tell others what they can and can't play. And I think it's gotten to a point where we as a gaming community have become so divided, almost as if we're, fighting Democrat versus Republican. It feels as though we're so divided in what we play that nobody can have fun. And I think that's something that I should point out, that I think you should just have fun with whatever game you think is fun at the time. Now, this is going to get into the in-depth about the games, and this is something that I think you should at least, consider. But if you're having fun with a video game, have fun. Just play it, okay? Nobody's going to stop you, and don't let anybody ever tell you what you can and can't play. Now, let me start off and just say that I've played a reasonable amount of Tarkov, a reasonable amount of Grayzone, and a reasonable amount of Arena Breakout. Now, all 3 games have something that differs in regards to each other, clearly. And I think the most differential between all 3 of them would be Grayzone Warfare, and that's where we're going to start. Grayzone Warfare is a extraction-based shooter. However, I'm not necessarily considering an extraction shooter, and I don't really compare it to Tarkov or Arena Breakout. However, since it's in the same genre, I wanted to at least make a video about it and make a part of this video here today because a lot of people are curious about it. Grayzone Warfare, if you are a PvE player and you play more so single-player games, more than likely, Grayzone is going to be the game for you. Now, Grayzone is a very good game. It has a lot of great features, but it also is completely different than Tarkov or Arena Breakout, right? You have extractions and LZs, but it's completely different. And I'd more compare it to Arma 3 and maybe Squad, more anything than Tarkov, to be honest with you. And I think it's more of a casual game for you guys to play while you're fighting AI throughout the map, but there's a slight hint of PvP. Now, I think one thing that Grayzone does very well is the ambient in the environment that it is in. It is so well made. When you are in the jungle, it makes you feel like you are in the jungle, and it's a very cinematic game. Now, I fully recommend it for anybody that thinks, that looks at games as beautiful and all of that stuff, and they enjoy games that have good foliage or, a good-looking tree, right? I definitely recommend it to those people. But about the gameplay itself, it's more of an AI PvE experience. Now, there is PvP, but I don't really recommend it for anybody that is going to, go back to old Tarkov and want to go back and always experience the PvP. This game is not for you if you only like PvP. You can focus it like I did it for a few weeks. I got into some great fights. However, it's more of a PvE game, and I genuinely think that if you are a PvP gamer, this game might not necessarily be for you in regards to fully focusing on PvP. Time of this video, last Saturday, I was actually able to sit down with one of the head PRs for Grayzone Warfare and Madfinger Games, the developers of Grayzone Warfare. And I got to talk to him months ago, and he stated to me that we're not trying to be Tarkov, we're trying to be Grayzone Warfare. And that's exactly what they did. They want to lead the industry for years, and although, yes, it's in early access, I think the amount of potential that it has is very large, okay? I think the game is well developed. I think that although there are bugs and there are, issues with the computer, which I will bring up in a second, I do think that this game is worth trying out. Now, let me say that in order to play Grayzone Warfare, you do need a pretty beefy PC, and they're working on optimization, but it's very slow. If you guys want to try Grayzone Warfare, I recommend it. Try it on Steam. If your PC can't handle it, refund it on Steam, because within 2 hours, you are able to actually refund the game. Now, you cannot refund the DLC. So if you buy the Supporter Edition, it will not give you your $100 back. It will just give you back the base price of the game, which I believe is $35. Now, that is something that I recommend to everybody that comes in my stream that wants to play Grayzone Warfare. But like I said, going back to the main core concept of the game, it's more PvE than anything. Yes, there's quests. Yes, there's traders. And yes, you can fight other players. But if you want more of a peaceful experience within all three of these games, I think Grayzone Warfare is going to be for you. Now, the game that I have most hours in is easily Escape from Tarkov. I have over 7,500 hours, and it's been my main game to stream for, the past 4 years. Now, I think there's some things that we need to talk about Tarkov before we get into the actual core concept of the game. I think Tarkov is in a really rough state. I think the community is in shambles, and I genuinely believe that you might be better off playing something else for now. However, if you still want to stick with Tarkov, if you still, have played 100 hours of Tarkov or 1,000 hours of Tarkov and you still love it, I'm going to encourage you to play it, because I think you should play what you want. That's the whole core concept of this video, is although, yes, I'm answering the question of what I think you should play right now, I do think at the end of the day, you should play what you want. Now, going back to Tarkov, I think the community right now is in shambles. There has been a lot of drama recently with the Unheard of edition. Myself, I bought the Unheard of edition to showcase how bullshit it was. I didn't like how it was. Nikita has recently taken back a lot of the things that he has added with the Unheard of edition, and they have seemed to go back on the Unheard of edition. Even though it is still in the game, it's not as powerful as before. Now, going to the core concept of the game, I think the game's lacking PvP right now. And I think the reason for that is necessarily because they haven't incentivized PvP for the longest time. When I first started playing Tarkov, it was nonstop W key pushing, pushing an objective, pushing this quest, pushing this dorms, pushing another player. It never was really sit around and wait. And that's unfortunately where the game has come to. I know the whole tactical, shooter, the whole conversation with that. And I'm not trying to say don't play how you want. But what I am saying is that it's a lot slower pace right now. And for the Tarkov OGs or the Tarkov casual players, it almost has turned into a full-time job. It reminds me of World of Warcraft a little bit. You have to play hours on end every single day in order to progress in the game, and I just don't think that's the right direction that Tarkov is going. Now, do I recommend playing it? Like I said, if you enjoy the game, yes, I think you should play it. But going back to the course concept, PvP right now is very, very slim. It's gotten better with this event that they're doing right now with the less inertia. But right now, the PvP is really, really slow. And it's just not for somebody who really wants a competitive experience at a game that used to be competitive in a sense. I do think Tarkov is going in the right direction right now in regards to what they're doing with Unheard of Edition and in the future of the game. But it's not necessarily something that I can recommend you play if you're just getting into one of these three games. Now, last but not least, I should mention Arena Breakout. Now, I do know there's a lot of drama regarding this game, too, because they have possibly stolen code. So, if you're a fan of criminal activities in a video game, or possible criminal activities in a video game, this might be for you. With that being said, I think Arena Breakout is actually really good. I was mildly surprised by the release of the game. I was incredibly surprised with the gameplay, the PvP, all of it. It was a lot of fun. And going back to my last conversation, the Tarkov OGs and the Tarkov casuals, this game is for you. Right now, I don't believe there's a lot of microtransactions in the game. When they do add it, I'm sure there's going to be a different conversation. However, right now, if you can get a code and you can get your hands on it, this game runs smooth. It gets me 150 frames, and it's just a blast to play. It reminds me a lot of Tarkov, back before inertia, where you could run around, shoot things on the run, shoot things on the go. And it gives me that nostalgia that Tarkov once gave me. And I fully recommend it for people that don't have, 5-6 hours every night to play a video game. It is a very, 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 very good game, at least right now. Like I said, I do think it's very scummy if they have stolen code, but we will not know until that's either taken to court or there's some sort of proof on the situation. I do know I've seen the tweets I say play at your own risk. If you want to play it, play it. If you don't want to play it because you disagree with them stealing code, then don't play it. Like I said, I think this comes down to a factor of if you want to play a game, just play it, man. If you really want to. But I do think Arena Breakout has potential. I think the game itself has a lot of OG Tarkov-esque, and the quality of life on the game is super, super nice. For example, if you guys did not know this, if you are in a squad, let's say you're playing with 3 friends, and one of your friends dies, if you pick up your friend's gear, it actually instantly gives it back to him once you extract in his message system, and it takes it from you. So you can't steal your friend's loot, even though I know you want to. It does give your friend instantly his gear back, and I think it's a great feature. And there's a lot of quality of life features that the game has that I think is, like I said, for Tarkov casuals. I'm good friends, or well, I like to consider myself a friend with Tim, Darkness429. He said the other day, and somebody relayed it to me, it's Tarkov for dads. You know, it's people who get home from a 9-to-5 job or an 8-to-8 construction job, and they only have 1 hour to spend, you know, to get away from their family for a bit, to get away from their wife or their kids, right? It's one of those games where you can sit down, relax, and enjoy the game. Now, I do think there are a lot of issues with it. I do think that the gameplay loop is very repetitive. And I'll be honest, it has gotten stale for me the past 5 days that I have played it. However, if I'm going to say my recommendation right now, I do think that Arena Breakout is what I'm having the most fun with. I do think it's the game that I'm going to recommend, and it's the game that I think everybody should try and get a code for just to try it out. Now, like I said, there is a lot of issues with it in regards to the game stealing code, so if you're not a fan of that, play something else, and we can all be happy. With that being said, these are all 3 of the games that I think they do very, very well. These are all games that I recommend you guys try, but if I could have a recommendation right now, I think it would be Arena Breakout, and that is going to be that. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching it. Thank you guys so much for everything, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.